Haman, the Amalekite, enemy of God, was anticipating a wonderful day for himself. Got up early to go to the palace to talk to the king about putting Mordecai on these gallows that he had built 50 cubits high. But it didn't go well for him. Instead, he ends up having to put Mordecai on the king's horse in the king's apparel and take him through the city and declare that this is the man that the king chooses to honor. He was totally humiliated. And he goes home, and he's once again complaining to his wife, Zeresh. You remember we started this series of studies I told you about when Prime Minister Netanyahu came to America and spoke to the House and the Senate. And he said to them, he says, I am Mordecai. And he says, don't worry about Israel. Don't worry about the people of God, because God's going to take care of the Jews. God's going to take care of his people. America, this is a warning to you. You better not turn your back on Israel. Well, the thing that he was referring to, we find it here in the book of Esther. This is what Zeresh, the wife of Haman, and his friend said, if Mordecai be of the seed of the Jews, before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shalt surely fall before him. And these friends and the wife of Haman, they knew that God's going to take care of his people. And that day, it turned out to be exactly what was predicted here. Haman, even though his feathers are ruffled because of what he's just had to do in this honoring of Mordecai, he goes to that banquet. He's all excited about it. But there at that banquet, Queen Esther reveals the evil that this man was about. And as she said these words, the king gets up and goes out to the garden. And Haman jumps up and he's trying to convince the queen. He says, look, I'm not doing evil here. And as he's doing that, as he jumps up, he leans forward and he falls over, and I'm maybe across a table or whatever, but he falls on the queen. And about that time, the king comes back in and he sees Haman laying on top of the queen, and he says, will he even force the queen? And they said, what we're going to do here? And they said, hang him. The king said, hang him. And somebody said, well, he built these gallows in front of his house to hang Mordecai on. He says, take him and hang him on those gallows. So that's exactly what happened. And it went from bad to worse for Haman and his family. His sons were also hanged on those gallows as well. God prevailed, and God made a way for the Jews to be preserved and to be able to live. And God is going to stand with Israel. And I'm just here as a messenger, a proclaimer of the gospel, proclaimer of the word of God. And I'm saying very, very loudly, very, very loudly, with no reservation, America, we need to stand with Israel if we plan to prevail and survive. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.